Hey, hello, welcome to Workshop. I got something to show you here. This right here is my old mixer that I bought from Raon in around 2012 for 3,000 pesos. It was during the time when condenser mics were not in vogue yet. Streaming was just starting out as a thing. I think around that time, Twitch just changed their logo to that purple one that we know now. I bought this mixer, and then later on, my very first condenser microphone, the Samson C01, served me for 13 long years, even when I no longer use this for streaming or for any audio for my computer. Earlier this month, it apparently finally gave up the ghost. This thing is, well, it'll still work, it'll still power on, but it no longer has gain, apparently. So I'm gonna turn it on again for the first time in a long while. Yeah, it still turns on, but apparently it doesn't gain anymore. It doesn't have that. They still put the tape for keeping the fader from going to the top. Yeah. It's not a bad mixer at all. It's served quite well for 13 years, but it's time to retire it. It's not a real Yamaha, mind you. It's not a real Yamaha mixer. Why am I showing this dusty old mixer? It's because this was an important part of my learning journey. When I first bought it, I was absolutely nervous learning how to do stuff. Because back then, I had no confidence whatsoever. I was raised by a family that they did their best, but they weren't very good teachers. Their way of making sure that I stay safe and be generally okay was to make me scared of everything. That was their way of doing it. And to this day, I kind of still resent them for it. Now, I know they had good intentions, but also that I realized throughout the years that good intentions does not always mean good actions. That's one of the main lessons in my life. So this mixer was a gateway to me learning more about myself and eventually becoming a smarter, more confident, and more self-assured person. Because I realized that I could learn anything I wanted. All I have to do is just focus on one small problem at a time. No one is born out of the womb already knowing what these things do, or what audio is, or how to be an audio engineer, how to be a sound man, which has been somewhat my role in the Philippine wrestling scene for I think about 8 years now. It grew from me just being a ring announcer to having nothing to do, to having given myself work, to the point that for a long time, this mixer was a part of those efforts. I remember when I first got this mixer, I was nervous about learning how to use it. During that time, in my head, I really thought that I wasn't very good at a lot of things. It was during a time when I really had no confidence in myself. I was stumbling through life. I barely could hold down a job. I was doing writing work and it paid enough for me to get by, but it didn't pay me enough to actually thrive. Things are different these days. So there's not a lot of control in my life during that time. My 20s were basically me wrestling with my insecurities. That's about it. I'm telling you this now because this mixer symbolizes that journey from insecurity to self-assuredness. It's very humble, only has 2 XLR inputs, very simple controls. And now it's broken down and not in its prime anymore, but it did a lot of work. It went through a lot of shows. It went through things that it wasn't expected to do, that's for sure. Just like me, I wasn't expected to go far, but somehow I keep finding myself in places where you wouldn't expect. Even though this mixer is not useful anymore, it will never be a part of any production, or even here in my home setup, because, well, I need this gain knob. I need it to work. Well, not anymore. Maybe I could put it here in the second XLR input, but nah, I'm retiring this. I may hang it up on a wall, frame it, hang it up as a memorial to how far I've come. Without this mixer, I would have not been brave enough to take that first step into actually learning this stuff. And it turned out I knew quite a lot because I played with stereos as a kid. Turns out that was all you need. Just having played with stereos during childhood gives you a lot of foundational knowledge when it comes to this stuff. Who knew? when it comes to practical application, experience is what really takes you there. I had to struggle. I had to go through hardship in order to learn more about myself. Experience is what separates those who can do and those who can only talk about it. And my family meant well, but it seems a lot like they regret their experiences that took them far. Maybe they underestimate how powerful those experiences are. I gripe a lot about my family because I really do have a lot to say about how they raised me. It doesn't mean I'm not grateful. I'm grateful for a lot of other things, but there's also a lot of consternation. And even now, outside of family, I'm seeing people who do not take struggle well. They don't see their experiences as lessons. They see them as roadblocks. And what they don't realize is they only get in their own way. But it's fine, because a lot of those people will look down on this thing. They don't even think about it. They don't think that their voices were put through this thing in order to be heard by an audience. They don't care. But I care. I care about this thing. I care about what it did and what I went through in order to learn how to use this thing. Those people don't care. That's why they're gone now. But I care. That's why I'm still here. And the good thing about that is I can keep on learning, and they have stopped. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Stay Tor.